Welcome to the Book Dragon tag. I was tagged by my friend Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I'll tag him down in the description. And this is it's a dragon themed pick books tag, as you might have guessed. So 10 famous dragons, none of them are actually that famous, from books. I've read a good amount of the books from which these come. I'll give some comments as I go where I have. There are 10 questions. Talindor. Talindor's guest. No idea. Haven't watched it. Name a book with an enormous library or book collection. I have just tossed all my books to the side here, so you have to be patient. Canticle for Leibowitz. I mean, it's massive. The monastery's library is massive for post-nuclear Holocaust. But yeah, there is a monastery. The Order of St. Leibowitz is dedicated to preserving knowledge after the fall, and it's a great book about, you might be able to see the little candle flame, ideas of sacred fire being carried forward. A very, very powerful book. I read this year, highly recommend. Number 2, Saphira, Inheritance Cycle. I've read Eragon, I didn't like it. Name a book/series that involves bonding two creatures. So we'll go for well, I think it's just massive in Valdemar in general, but Mercedes Lackey, the queen of romantic fantasy, the Arrows trilogy, this was the first book, the set of books in Valdemar, which I'm reading at the moment. I read the first book already in the year. I'm about to start reading the second, and here there's like magic horses you bond to, and you join the Queen's Own. And is Roland his companion? The companions are immortal, basically, these magic horses, and you bond with them and have sort of shared thoughts with them. We'll get onto this. I mean, basically, a bit like with Fitz and Nightblood or something like that. But yeah, it's joyously silly, occasionally weird. There's a few other examples in literature of that kind of thing, but it's one of the more, that is how it would be, isn't it, really, if you shared thoughts with an immortal sentient horse. 3, Drogon, A Song of Ice and Fire, which I've read. I like. It would be interesting to see, especially in the light of the TV show, how Drogon and the other dragons get used. Name a book series where one of the creatures is virtually unstoppable. I'm not sure, not so much for kind of canonical reasons, in world reasons, but just Elric in general, the eternal champion types, but Elric most obviously. This is Stormbringer, are absurdly, they're destined, I guess, to be tough. They're not destined to be victorious, but there is just a realistic way, a realistic expectation when you read them, that they're going to butcher thousands of people, and that's the end of that one, really. It's interesting, it's not at all the case. I was observing this, even thinking today, reading The Hobbit with my kids. But Tolkien isn't at all the same. The doyen of epic fantasy. Generally, the battle god thing happens when you're about to die. People have some insane battle where they destroy everyone before them. In the battle, they die. Aragorn is a really rare exception. Question 4, Balerion the Black Fire and Blood. Which I don't own. I have considered buying to read. I just want more Dunk and Egg. Name a book or series that has gigantic beasts. Dune. Look at that gigantic. That is gigantic beast. Yeah, that's the more of a worm. I am a worm. So says the God Emperor. Dune. The sandworms, particularly. I think there is not that I read a China Medieval book with giant mobile beasts they all live on or something. I kept at the edge of my thought. I kept thinking of series where maybe they all live on a giant animal or something. And half the time I realised that these are RPG settings I've read, so they don't count for this. Smaug, number 5, The Hobbit. We have. We'll get to The Hobbit in a minute. Actually, The Hobbit could answer so many of these, but yes, Smaug is great, obviously, and this is name a book or series that involves talking animals or beasts. So called for Smaug because Smaug talks, but much more importantly, he is a beast. He's not an animal. Dragons aren't animals, I don't think. But there are talking thrushes and talking ravens, more importantly, and talking spiders. Though, are they talking? I guess they are. They're just very annoying, aren't they? But yeah, Book of the Long Sun. You can actually see on this, the cover is actually from Lake of the Long Sun. Do you see the little night chuff there with silk? Oreb, who I love. Oreb is one of the best characters in Long Sun. The sacrificial bird Borch, who then is not sacrificed and accompanies Silk on his journeys. There's also the Catacrest, who is just a Gene Wolf gag. Like, there's stuff where you realise it's just very much Wolfian. In that case, it's a sacrificial animal, intelligent sacrificial animal, probably gene grafted or something. But so it's a cat, but it's a catacrest because everything it says is slightly wrong, which is what cataclysm is. Ha ha, Gene. Question 6, Falkor, Neverending Story. I mean, I guess it's because this is dragons, not horses. Book horse. Name a book or series where one of the characters is extremely lucky. Well, how about the First Law and the Lucky Nine? Book number 7. Neverending Story I've not read the book of. I've just seen the film of. 7. Borch, Witcher. Name a book or series with shape-shifting creatures. The Hobbit. The Hobbit matches several of these. Actually, probably it's one of the ones that does this best. The Hobbit covers in 300 pages an absolutely enormous amount of ground. But yes, this one, I'm thinking of Bjorn, of course, skin changing. One of those Tolkienian mysteries. You get some other skin changing in weird skin changing. I mean, so I'm thinking about the Silmarillion in Tolkien. On the one hand, you get the skin changing of a Sauron, who actually seems to change shape. You also get the skin changing of a form of Beren and Luthien, using elven magic and the skins of vampires and things to make them look like evil creatures. 8. Toothless, How to Train Your Dragon. Witcher again, just seen and played, not read. How to Train Your Dragon, seen. I think I've read one of the books actually, or something to do with it. But yeah, Toothless is great. Name a book or series where someone must tame or train animals. I mentioned Fitz earlier. Royal Assassin. This could also go for Bond, but Fitz also trains and tames other animals, doesn't he? In the whole Farseer trilogy. But yeah, most obviously, Royal Assassin, it kind of gets the training and the bonding thing going on with Nightblood, so it feels like the right one to pick for that sort of, well, reference to multiple questions really. 9. Hungarian Horntail, Harry Potter. Goblet of Fire is the most forgettable film. As a book, I first read Harry Potter when Goblet came out. I read the first 4 in like 4 days because I had a copy, I think, spare from somewhere, and borrowed the others. And yeah, I don't think I loved Goblet the most, but I think there's, I don't mind the dragon stuff. Name a series or book that involves a competition. Went for Player of Games by Ian M. Banks, which is that its greatest game player, Jonah Morat Gergely. The player of games, master every board, computer and strategy, has to go to the Empire of Azad to try their fabulous game. A game so complex, so like life itself, that the winner becomes emperor. It's this, yeah. You can see it's got a kind of space 3D chess thing going on the front. Now, for Banks, though, this is not the only culture novel that involves a very important game. In fact, there's games throughout, but there is a very long section in the first one. This is more or less the second one in terms of release. But consider Phlebas has a very long section on the ring world that's about to end. But yeah, Player of Games is a great book. 10. Errol Guards, obviously the best on this list. Guards is one of Pratchett's best, and Errol's a fun character within it. Name a book or series with presumed misfits. This is my last one, and generally the Vorkosigan saga, but let's say maybe most obviously Young Miles, which is The Warrior's Apprentice and the Vor game. The big thing being that Miles has stunted growth and fragile bones from a chemical attack on his mother when he was in the womb. He was alive in the womb, and his body was damaged, his development was stunted, and he wasn't killed, but he was born disabled. and so he has to, via therapies, but also via sheer grit, determination, and mostly blagging, make a success of himself. This, by the way, this is the most trade paperbacky thing of all my trade paperbacks. Look at that, flopping everywhere. He is a misfit, and often the people he attracts to himself are not, to call them misfits is maybe misrepresentative of some of them, but they, even when they're technically very powerful, like the one where the Emperor runs away and he has to look after him, they don't fit in where they are. And some of them really are other misfits, like Miles, who he connects with because though he's charismatic and optimistic, he's an outsider too. But yeah, so that is my my book dragon tag. Yeah, tell me what you think of those books. I guess I'll put the tag in the description as well, so that you can tell me what you think. Feel free to respond with your answers as well, or make a video. Anyway, I will see you next time.